I just wanted to share this cool analysis that I screenshotted, and I'll read it from the top. Okay? It says here, I completely agree with the concept that increased milk consumption during childhood and adolescence promotes greater stature during adulthood. In fact, a recent meta analysis showed that the most likely effect of dairy products supplementation is zero point 0.4 centimeters per annum additional growth per whatever that means, CA. Does it mean per capita? I don't know what that means. And I'm not going to search for it either right now. But it says 245 milliliters of milk daily. Okay, I'll read that again. Show that the most likely effect of dairy product supplementation is zero point 0.4 centimeters per annum additional growth per whatever that word is, 245 milliliters of milk daily. And that milk might have more effect on growth than other dairy products. Okay? Now, you know me in that I likes to do the math now. And maybe you didn't know that. But yeah, so even though I don't know what that CA means, yeah, I don't know what this that CA right there. I don't know what that means. But regardless, I want to look at that 245 milliliters of milk a day. And so now I'm thinking, all right, so what if I want to grow what if I wanted twice as much extra growth? Would that mean I would need about, we'll just make it simple, 500 milliliters of milk daily to get 0.8 additional centimeters a year? That's what per annum means. As far as I know, per annum means per year. Yeah. So, does this math mean that if I did a whole liter, does it mean 1.6 additional centimeters per year? What's 1.6 times 4? I'm doing the math in my head. It's 6.4. Let me do it again. 16 plus 60, yeah, 30, yeah, 6.4. All right. So, if it was 4 liters, which is about a gallon, But we'll just say 4 liters. If it was 4 liters daily, would that be 6.4 centimeters per year? That's 64 millimeters. That sounds doable, especially when I got 12 millimeters in a month one time. Okay. And there are people out there who growing 7 inches in a year easily. And 7 times 25. Let's make it easy. 8. Yeah, it's people out there growing 8 inches in a year. About that. For sure. So that's 200 millimeters. Because, yeah. Because, yeah, 2.5, it's 5. Boom, boom. Yeah, that's 20. It just rounded off by 200 millimeters or 20 centimeters. And all we talking about is, I think, about a gallon of milk a day, maybe a little less than a gallon. We're asking the question, might that result in a little over 2 inches a year of additional growth? Yeah. I'm someone who believes you can do math on growth in height. At least to a certain extent, you can do math on that. And I've talked about this before, and I've talked of it multiple times and in different ways. That yes, growth can be broken down mathematically, at least to an extent. And if you want to set an easy example, I say easy, but in a way it's easy, but it's just easy. It's quick for me to explain. It's so quick for me to explain. And that is this. All you got to do is go back to them stories of those who grew taller through cycling. And you hear what they say. It's about the same amount of cycling produce about the same amount of growth for multiple people. There's like at the end of the day, we all got this red blood. We all got bones. We all people. And we all grow around the same height. Even you take someone who's 6'5" and another person who's 5'5". Still, think about it, still, they are within a foot of each other. There's only a foot difference. It may seem a lot, but if you look at it in another way, it's only a foot difference. And so we're virtually the same. And we're not that different from each other. We're not that different. And so growth, I do believe it can be calculated and a degree of expectation can be placed upon it when doing certain things correctly or right or advantageous, when one does the advantageous things. In my own grow tall journey, when I was really doing good at keeping track of it, I was averaging about 3 millimeters a week, which ends up being a fourth of an inch every 2 weeks. And I wasn't even cycling, but I was experiencing growth. But you take these people who were cycling, they had the same math. And I don't think I even knew about them people, about those stories. I think I learned about those cycling stories later. But I had already documented, I think I learned about those cycling stories in 2015, maybe. Maybe 2014. But certainly, if I remember correctly, it was after what happened in 2013. When I grew half an inch in 1 month, and that averaged about 3 millimeters a week. And it turns out that these people who were cycling with the raised saddle, they too were averaging 3 millimeters a week. So what I'm saying is that depending on what we're doing, to a degree, we can calculate what we might expect. I believe this. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. And if someone were to work with me, which, by the way, if you want to work with me, the way I'm connecting with people right now is on Minect. You can go to Minect, download the app, MINNECT. Download that app and search for Skin Type Flash, or you can just type Roy. Search for Roy. Different profiles come up. Click mine and let's start engaging. But in the Gumroad, my Gumroad account has been suspended. I wonder if it got something to do with me pausing those coaching programs I had. I don't see why that would have caused it, though. Suspension. But anyway, my point I was trying to make was, get at me on my neck. And the thing is, I love to tell people who are working with me one-on-one. Like, Minette is not really a one-on-one program, but I think it could feel like it, and it could be pretty doggone close to it, depending on the efforts of the person who's connecting with me. But aside from all of that, if someone were to really work with me on a one-on-one basis, I love to tell them that we're going for half an inch a month. I love to tell them that. But I'm not using such language. And I think especially, well, maybe not especially, but maybe especially, a person might be able to get more than half an inch a month. They might be able to get 2 inches in a month. They just might be able to pull off 2 inches in a single month. But wherein someone else can only do 1/4 of an inch in a month. Well, the key is, what we want to do is establish a baseline for that person. So let's say they get 1/4 of an inch for that whole month. Let's make it even less than that. Let's say they get 4 millimeters that whole month. Okay. And so their average is 1 millimeter a week. Well, the next month, the way we're going to approach it is at least get another 4 millimeters. Let's try that. And I say at least, really, at least we want to grow at some level. I don't care if it's 1 millimeter, a fraction, or 2 millimeters. Grow that second month. But ideally, what we want to do is at least keep it no less than an additional 4 millimeters, but if possible, get even more. Like increase the rate. Where in the first month, we was getting 1 millimeter a week. The second month, let's see if we can get 2 millimeters a week or 1.5 millimeters a week. And I'm not just saying words right now. When I was doing my Grow Tall routine, that is how I thought. I didn't have the thinking of many people who felt that over time my growth would be less. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with such thinking. I mean, I'm not making that call, at least not right now in this setting, because it may not apply in all instances. But when I was doing my Grow Tall routine in the beginning, and the way I would help someone else is doing things how I literally did them, which was I would grow at a certain rate. Like, I remember how I did it. In a 90-day period, I grew 1/4 of an inch. That's how much growth I was able to log. And then shortly after that, I did a 1-month Grow Tall journey where I only grew about a notch, like a millimeter or so. But then after that, I did 1/2 inch in 35 days to be exact. So my rate increased. And when I went on that journey, it was for the purpose of growing faster than I had in previous Grow Tall journeys. That was my goal, to grow faster. And I did it. Why? Because in my mind, it's possible to do that. Like, it's possible to make the call. Kind of like if you're playing pool and you calling the shots. You calling it. You saying what cushion the ball is gonna fall into before you even strike. Before you even, you know what I mean. Or like Larry Bird. He's they got stories about how he would play basketball. He would be talking through it, saying everything that he's going to do before he do it. And so I think that can happen with height. I mean, I've compared growing taller to riches or business. And the thing about having a really good business, a successful business, is you calling the shots. Yeah, there are going to be some unexpected things, but you know what's what. And you don't play no games. You know what to expect. And you go forth and you make things happen. And you know that there's a numbers game, a law of averages, and you just work those averages to hit your numbers. And you face whatever reality you got to face. I was one time part of a real estate group, and it was mostly white guys. But it was funny because it was funny and it was refreshing. Because since money was on the line, there was multiple millionaires in this group. Everybody wasn't a millionaire, but me included. I wasn't one for sure. But it was an excellent group. They they own like that group represented it was a fourth of all apartment complexes in Houston, up to 250 units. They own them. That group of people, that team of people. But anyway, my point in speaking about this is it was mostly white people in that group, and it was refreshing, and so many other things it was, because it was nice to just be around people who could face facts. And they had to deal with them. And so, because money is on the line, and if money is on the line like that, people's lives are on the line. You ain't got time to be politically correct. You ain't got time for it. And so they were able to face facts. Facts that you may not hear on TV or read in newspapers. They able to call it like it is. And you gotta do that when money's on the line. And see, I think that's why a lot of people don't understand certain business people. I won't mention any names, but certain billionaires or multi-billionaires, they don't understand them. And it's like, if you want to understand them, try to run a business. Try to be successful. And then you're you're not going to say things and do it without sacrificing something you shouldn't. But anyway, my point is, if you actually try to run a business, you'll see that you can't be soft. You got to be able to face harsh realities because the life of your business depends upon it. And so a lot of people, they talk bad about rich folk and they say that they're narcissistic or they don't care about people and they're mean. It's like, no. It ain't that. It's when it's all up to you. When it's all, ain't nobody handing you nothing. When it's all up to you, you got to be able to call it like it is. You got to be able to know what's what, know the brutal facts, the hard facts that you got to deal with, and you got to know it so well that you can predict how well you're going to do. If there's a rough spot ahead, as much as possible, you need to know it. And so, I think increasing height intentionally is the same way. It's like, no, let's know what we got to know. If I ask somebody how tall they are, they might say, oh, I'm 6 feet. That's cool. But when we working together as a team to get you taller, that number ain't gonna work no more. It don't work no more. I gotta know, okay, what's your tallest morning height? What's your lowest evening height? Let's break it down to the millimeter, even fraction of a millimeter. What's your height at your absolute best? And what is your height at the general worst? And track it every day. Let's do that for 2 weeks. Now, let's actually try to get taller for, I don't know, the next 2 weeks. Let's actually try to get taller. Okay? Did you get taller? Yes. Great. How taller did you get? Cool. Can you do a little more the next 2 weeks? Can you improve your nutrition the next 2 weeks while doing all the other good things you've been doing? Can you? Great. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. And we may actually set goals. We're gonna try to hit this number. That's all we're trying to do. We trying to get that number, and hey, feel free to beat it. And boom, 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 go. And we want to get so good that we can predict. We can calculate. Now, of course, at some point, we may hit a roadblock. We may hit a challenge. But we got so many things in our box of tools, in our repertoire. I'm trying to use language that won't get me suspended on YouTube. But yeah. Yeah, we can overcome it. We got so many things we can use to overcome it. Yeah. And we can actually make good estimates on the success we might be able to achieve. So I like this little write up here. I like it. They broke the height down to an amount of milk. I love that. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? It puts power in your hands. Power is good. It's good to have power. This world down talks people having power, and we look down on people with power. We can't do that. That's wrong. It's evil and wicked. As far as I'm concerned, we're made in God's image, so we're meant to have power. We're supposed to be powerful. At some level, we're supposed to be powerful. And in our life, we are supposed to be growing in power. And it's possible for every single person on this planet to be powerful. And believe it or not, it's actually possible for every single person on this planet to be rich. If you don't believe that, you've been lied to. Okay? It is what... These are the facts. And it may be hard to comprehend. The math may not work out. But I will submit to you. Well, I'm just... It's possible for everybody to be rich. It's really possible. And I'm not going to get into all that right now. But why talk about that? Well, I forget exactly at the moment. But a couple of points that I can salvage from that tangent there is that the height that is available to you may be more abundant than you think. It may be greater than you realize. The height that's available to you. And if someone else gets taller, it doesn't mean that you can't. I'm trying to say they're not the only one who can get taller. Okay? Yeah. I don't always communicate as well as I would like. And I don't always remember things as well as I would like. I think that was a point that I was making. And I can't think of what it is. But hopefully you get the point. If we do work together, we're going to be doing some math. But even if you don't work with me, hey, you can do the math yourself. You can figure out some kind of math on your own. I was even doing that with eggshells, and I want you to be careful about eggshells. I talk about that in the book. I do think eggshells can be dangerous. But it may seem unbelievable to you, but it got to the point where at least the way that it was appearing to me, is that I could predict the type of height increase I would get for the week based on the amount of eggshells that I took in. Based on the amount of eggshell powder. Yeah. I said, okay, I'm literally telling you how it went down. I would be thinking, because if you haven't realized by now, when it comes to growth, I'm all about a holistic approach. And I'm looking not just at height, but I'm looking at the health of the whole body as much as I can. And that's why I think it's always important to learn more, because I'm all about doing this with a holistic approach. So, though I may want to grow 3 millimeters in a week, I am telling you what went down. That's why some people may not understand how my height was going. But like when I had lower height increases, it was intentional. I'm telling you the reasoning behind it. So, of course, I would want to grow 3 millimeters in a week. But there were some times when I felt like, it doesn't seem like my body can handle too much eggshells this week. And I'm looking at, different things that were going on with my nutrition. And so I would say, maybe I should hold off and get only so many eggshells and maybe just be happy with 1 millimeter this week. And so that's what I would do. I'm not saying I would do exactly, because day to day things might change. But I would have a goal for the week, and then I would work that week from day to day. I would work at my goal from day to day, and things might change and get adjusted. But I might say, okay, I like 3 millimeters this week, but let me just go for 1, because I'm not too comfortable with having too much eggshell powder. And sure enough, that week, I might grow 1 inch or 1.25 inches. Something like that. Okay? And the next week, I might say, okay, let me see if I can get this much height or that much height. I might be happy with 0.5 millimeter. Okay? I really don't want to take too much eggshells. And I get something like 0.5 millimeter. Yeah. I'm telling you, it got to the point, it seemed like I could calculate things based on the amount of eggshells. And yes, I have tried calculating things based on the amount of milk and things like that. But the fun when it comes to calculating things with milk, the fun kind of went away with that because of my body's sensitivity to milk. It just we just say that was a party pooper. Yeah. Certain amount of milk, it's a party pooper. And have to regroup. So anyway, you see it here that you see it here that height was being calculated based on intake of some form of nutrition. I believe that we can do similar things working together if we do it right. And it gotta be done right. And I believe we can calculate height that we can achieve together based off of nutrition and activity. Okay? And this is how I think about it. Like if we trying to go 3 millimeters, if we trying to get you a 3 millimeter height increase that week, we're going to do the activities that we believe can produce 3 millimeters, and we also going to do the nutrition that we believe can produce 3 millimeters. It doesn't mean that together they will produce 6. If it does 6, great. But if we do the activity that produces 3 millimeters and the nutrition that produces 3 millimeters, we are elated. We are happy. We high-fiving if we see a 3 millimeter height increase. One goal, we tackled it from both ends, nutrition and activity. And we may do the same thing the next week. And let's say that week, it only produces 1.5 millimeters. Hey, we are still, I know I'm still elated. Because the height is continuing to go up. And I know that the next week, based on the law of averages, there might be a 4.5 millimeter height increase instead of 3 millimeters. That's how things happen. It's an average. And the key is you don't give way to despair when you're not seeing the numbers you want. And then you got to have the right language. Let's say you grow 3 millimeters one week, then the next week you only grow 1.5 millimeters. You don't say something silly like, oh man, my height went down. Whew! Why are you saying such a foolish thing? That's foolish. Don't say that. I'm not calling anyone a fool. I'm just saying, in relation to our goal, such talk is foolish. Remove the foolish talk from among us. We must remove it. Because the truth is, your height did not go down. Your height went up. If you go 3 millimeters one week and 1.5 millimeters the next week, your height did not go down. Your height still went up. We 4.5 millimeters on top. You might get another 4.5 in that very next week, and then it would be 9 millimeters on top, almost a whole centimeter. So that's why it's so important how you view height. At least if we work together, how you view it. You can give them roundabout numbers to the rest of the world, but if we working together and we trying to get these new height increases now, no, we will know your height intimately. We're going to get the whole deal. And then we're going to try to predict this stuff. We're going to try to predict it. Yeah. Yeah. Predict it till we can't predict it no more. And then at that point, we got more tools. It ain't over. It ain't over. Shoot. Come on now. Oh no. So, we do what we got to do. And we go for it again. If we up to it. If this is what we want to do. Get to predicting again and winning again. Same thing. Yeah. All right. That's enough of that.